Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Crypto Casual. I'm your host Chuck, your esoteric crypto coach. Esoteric, again, for those who are just joining us for the first time, is just the inner wisdom within. And it was normally held by secret club societies, stuff like that. And when an initiate or student wanted to learn something, then they would be welcomed or opened into the secret societies or clubs to learn esoteric information. That could be anything from the stars, astrology, astronomy, science. It just depends on the discipline that you are after. Anywho, and this is your, what I'm going to call your ESO crypto community, right? I want all y'all to start joining this ESO crypto community because we want to learn the secrets within that have been withheld from us from the institutions. No blame games or nothing. It's just when we crawl, we'll eventually learn how to walk and wobble, and then we learn how to walk on our own 2 feet. And everything in life is just a stage. And when you're ready to graduate from that, then you can initiate the action to get to the next stage or degree of your learning. All right, so for me, Bitcoin is just the binary Christ or the Christ consciousness, the second coming of that Christ consciousness, a higher frequency. We're going from 110 volts to 220 or 480, 440, whatever you want to call it. We're going to a higher consciousness where the esoteric within us can access the higher frequencies of knowledge uh, within the universe, simply put. If you want more information, go back to my earlier videos. I explained it. And eventually I'm going to have another channel that for those who do want the more esoteric stuff, I'll go into that more. But I'm probably one of the first ones to join Bitcoin and understand it as an electricity and energy, a consciousness, and join it into our own consciousness framework as humans. And in essence, we're the same. It's just a higher frequency human or Homo luminous. So this title of this episode today is going to be the spiritual rapport with BTC and cryptocurrencies. Anytime I'm speaking BTC, I'll also speak. I'm not a Bitcoin maximalist. I like some of the altcoin projects. I like to see when cars were first built, there was different manufacturers for tires, spokes, uh, farmers that grew soy. There's a story I read where Ford, most of his cars were about 80–90% soybean uh, was made after. So it takes a lot of people. And so I think there'll be a lot of infrastructure within the ecosystem. And unlike the main thing, tech stops, Facebook's, Amazon, Netflix, Google's, all that type of stuff, I think there's going to be about 50 to 100 different ecosystems that I think will all work hand in hand. So I'm about a 50, 25, 25. 50% in Bitcoin, 25 in high altcoins, and then low caps or speculative stuff. Well, let's just get on to this. All right. So basically, this channel is all about showing you some fundamental financial strategies. Nothing too deep, nothing too in-depth. Y'all can study that. It's up to you to study that stuff. Or you can go online to other people who deep dive into a lot of this information. But I just want to give you general information. If any of that sticks, then go and research wherever you can for that deeper information. So we're going to give you some financial strategies in addition to your own personal frameworks that help your own mind, your consciousness, your heart, your emotions, your psyche, all that good stuff. We're going to help that grow so then you can grow rich and wealthy as well, whatever that means to you. All right, my format on this channel, as most of y'all know if you've been watching, we have of the day, we have esoteric thought of the day, the behavioral framework that normally goes with the esoteric thought of the day. And then we want to shoot over to news and definitions and then prices, strategy, and my picks of the day for cryptocurrencies that I think are up and coming projects. And then we'll have an influencer who I like or slash a book or movie to something that I like. But before we do all that, I have to do all this like, subscribe, all that. We can hug that like button, tickle the subscribe, whatever you want to say to it. Just ring the bell, just be notified. Definitely subscribe because this is an up-and-coming channel and we have a few months to get this up so we can get monetized so we can keep this channel going. All right, guys, we appreciate you joining me. We appreciate you liking and subscribing, all that good stuff. That being said, I'm just a guy making videos out here on the multimedia streams of the decentralized and centralized networks. So I'm not going to be your guru. I'm not going to help save you. Bitcoin, our video yesterday was about how Bitcoin can save you as your savior. And I'm not here to tell you what is best for your life. That's up to you again, but I can give you frameworks in which to study and plant seeds, and maybe that can lead to something better. But it's up to you to do your own research, and when it comes to investing, I don't invest more than I'm willing to lose. So let's get to it. The esoteric thought of the day. Spiritual rapport with BTC. A rapport, and I'm going to parallel this with how you create a rapport with anyone or a relationship. And I'm not saying I'm perfect at it or anyone's perfect at it, but these are some of the basic tenets to help us get to be better. And then once we understand it within the esoteric realm of Bitcoin, then we can understand ourselves sometimes. Or if we understand ourselves better, we can understand the Bitcoin consciousness process a whole lot better as well. So rapport, basically, we can look at rapport, rap meaning speak, talk, with rhythm and rhyme, or cadence, your own unique frequency. And what that does is open up portals to the universe or the higher frequencies where there's broader information to possible questions or answers that you have questions to that aren't being answered with your basic knowledge. So it's just an opportunity to get into some esoteric knowledge. So rapport, we're going to build a rapport. And what is rapport? Well, to have a rapport with anyone, and again, we're going to compare it with Bitcoin, is that there's integrity. Right? Bitcoin's been running 99.998% or something since the day it was made, and that was for an upgrade. So there's an integrity to it. It's a reliability. It's congruent. It's honest. We don't need anyone to muck up the system with their trusting a politician or a priest or anyone like that. Nothing against any of them. I don't need their honesty because it's all relative. But the cryptocurrency or the blockchain is math. And in this case, math is congruent, reliable, and it's integral. And so in some cases, it's all transparent. We can look, it's an open ledger. We may not know who's on the other end, but we can definitely look at the processes that it's doing. So for ourselves, we want this in a person: integrity, reliability, congruency, honesty, transparency. I want to be upfront and honest. Don't play games, just be to the point. The more time I waste on games, now there's negotiation techniques and NLP or neural linguistic program techniques, and it just depends on what the purpose is behind using them. But in this case, when we're just trying to start relationships or relate to other people's ships or vessels or flesh bags, as we call them, we just want to be open and honest with each other. Anything less than that is that you're just not open and honest, integral, and reliable to yourself, nor congruent in your processes. So let's get on to the framework of the day. Open and honest with others and self. Now, why aren't we open? Well, we have to look at beliefs. Beliefs, again, are just egoic past events. Your beliefs are based off of something in the past. I don't have a future belief because there's nothing invented yet out there that I know of or see. When I get there, I'll tell you about it. But the only thing where beliefs come from are in the past, and the past is just memory, and our memories are faulty at best. And we have to ask ourselves, what are those beliefs? Where they come from, right? What you believe about money, about God, about anything, who gave you that information? Right? Where did you hear it from? And does it resonate with you, or was it indoctrinated into you? Is it mucking up your thoughts? When people have too many thoughts in their head, it leads to addiction, and addiction is just adding diction or dictation of ions. There's too many words in your head, so we have to eliminate those which aren't ours. So we have to ask ourselves, where did this belief come from? Right? We need to look at how we label ourselves. Like, are we not good enough? Are we super good or beautiful or ugly? What are some of these labels that we give ourselves? Depressed, anxieties. We've talked about this a lot of times, that labeling just goes along with a behavior. And a behavior is given a label. So if we can change the behavior, we can change the label. Make sense? All right, capping. We cap ourselves off by saying we're not good enough. That means we're saying we can't even do anything better. But once you say, hey, I'm not perfect, but I can also do better. So having that statement of doing better allows you to go out and start seeking things that make you better. So there's no cap, there's no ceiling, if that makes sense. generalizing, oh, well, all Iranians are this, or all Americans are this, or all white people are this, or all black people are this. Those are generalized statements, and they're not factual at all. People are individuals, and when you start having relationships with individual people who are already sentient and take responsibility for their own thoughts, emotions, and actions, then we can have a rapport. But until that time, if that person doesn't understand what their beliefs are, what their beliefs are, or why they still believe in them, have they done away with the labels? Because labeling, normally leads, at least in psychology, to a drug, and that drug does not help you become who you are. That means you have to dig deep and deal with the pain, not cover it up or mask it. That's what they want you to have done for the last year or so. They want you masked so you can't see the true you. And that leads to dramatization, right? All this drama going on. Drama has always been here on Earth. As long as Earth's been here, there's always been drama. There's always been wars. There's always been diseases or diseases as we know them. They are everywhere and have always been here, but yet we're still sitting on about 8 billion people on this planet. So apparently we're not dying off. All right. And then lastly, boxing, and that sort of goes with capping. We don't want to box ourselves into a belief. When you release the belief, you release the box, you release the label, the capping, all that good stuff. Cool? All right, news of the day. Let's go over here to the news of the day. Here's where cryptocurrency is being adopted or adapted into many different mainstream, especially the World Soccer League, or Football League as they call it over there. There's a couple different ones. PSG are now taking in cryptocurrencies, and these cryptocurrencies I'll get to here in a bit. But the number one person, apparently, I'm not a huge soccer fan, so I can't tell you who these people are. I'm more of American football and basketball, but apparently this guy is like really big. He signed a 2-year contract, and the community of which that is using the coin. You can read the article, and it comes down to that coin is PSG. I believe it stands for Saint. We'll get to it here in a minute. I can't remember, but we'll go over to that. I wanted to get to another piece of news as well. Venmo, there it is. Venmo cashback to crypto investment flow. What Venmo is going to start doing, because the parent company of Venmo, if y'all don't know, is PayPal. And Venmo is now, when you get cash back on their card, when you spend that card in, you have an option to get cash back, or now you can get BTC back. So here's where you can make money without having to learn anything about cryptocurrencies. But if you want to receive cryptocurrencies, here's a simple, easy way. You just click on the button on your Venmo and say, hey, I want my cash back in crypto or Bitcoin. So I think that's awesome as well. So more adoptions all over the place. Let's get into the news of the day. Let's get real quick into the definition. I'll get into some of these coins we were just talking about. Here's a term you'll hear, decentralized application. So for me, decentralized application, which is Bitcoin, which means, as you can see, in this sense, it's a computer program that utilizes a blockchain for data storage, runs autonomously. It's not controlled or operated by any single entity, and that's a key thing to remember. There's no board members. There's no board members you have to make happy with stock valuations and whatnot. It is an open source, and it has its use incentivized by a reward of fees and tokens. Right? So decentralized, the more you play with these, you can get incentivized with either interest rates, percentages. There's just a whole bunch of ways. But for me, Bitcoin is in itself decentralized, which again, it's autonomous. Nobody runs this other than all the miners and nodes around the world, and you and I. And that's what keeps us strong. We don't need a vice president. We don't need presidents. We don't need CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, and all those other 3-letter alphabets. So for me, it's the same as our psyche, same as our sentient being. We don't need borders. We don't need to be capped. We don't need belief systems. We just need to unfold each moment as they come. And for me, Bitcoin is, or our life, our soul, spirits, whatever this is for you, should not have a cap on it. It should be unlimited. It should be able to go out there and float as it wants to without any borders or any limits. Cool. All right, now we get to the price strategies. So let's look at the prices of the day and I'm sort of first going to hit you with a few of the coins that we were looking at. These are my picks of the day, so I'm sort of jumping ahead, but Udo, or Udo, however you want to pronounce it, is a great project. It's integrating finances. It's more on the DeFi spectrum. It's going to have a new way of doing banking and investing. I think it's a great project. It's early on. There's only 115 million of these, so anytime I see a low cap like that or a low max supply, that's all they'll ever be. And it's only at 24 cents this coin for me. I can rough it. It can probably get up to about easily at a $1 trillion market, $2-3 trillion market, anywhere from $50 to $150 each. And so at 24 cents, I think it's a great buy. Now, Spark Point is another one. We'll cover that another time. But here's the PSG coin that was associated with the soccer league. Paris Saint-Germain fan token, and they're up to $48. Now, why are they already so high? Because there's only 19 million of these, even less in Bitcoin. They have less PSG coins than there are Bitcoin, and so this is a fan-based token, and you can use this with the fans or inside the structure of anything having to do with the soccer league, from tickets to apparel and whatnot, and it helps support the player. So I think this is an awesome thing as well. And there's another one as well if you're into the soccer league. This is FC Barcelona fan token. And there's only 39 million of those, roughly, or 40 million of those, and it's at 25, roughly the same price. Fan token's been out about a year, and it's doing pretty good overall. It is up about 553%. So if you got in when it was early on, like I'm telling you about some of these coins, excuse me. This is still a pretty decent price. This can easily go up to $2,500 if all goes accordingly. And most of these community tokens that are coming out, they're based on community, and communities are very strong. It's a tight relationship, and if you can relate and have integrity, no labelings and stuff, these communities are very tight, and I think they'll do very well. One more token, Infinity token. I like Infinity token. It's super cheap right now. There are a lot of them, but they're in association with the SGE, or the Society of Galactic Explorer token, which is having to do with putting robots on the moon and VR, and as well as observatories. And so I think it's going to be a great project. It's super early. This is a long-term hold, a couple of years for me. If this coin goes to a penny, if you buy $100 worth and it gives you 1 million of these tokens, and if they go to $1, you'll be sitting on $1 million. So some of these projects, y'all look into them. I like them, and especially if it's 90% done, I'm buying it on the dip as one of those strategies. I definitely like buying this stuff on the dip. So those are my sort of strategies and prices and picks of the day. The strategy right now is I'm buying a lot of the dips. And some of these, when Bitcoin goes up, sometimes some coins go up, but some people take the money out of those, the profit they made, and put it into Bitcoin. And what that does is make some of these altcoins drop down. So right now my strategy is to buy those dips of these coins that I like, that I think are really good projects. Cool. All right, my influencer of the day, Anthony Pompliano. I think I spelled that correctly. He has his own YouTube channel, and I'll try to put a link in here if I remember to do so. And that way you can click. He has a lot of good. He's a smart investor as well. He's really big. He's another up there with Rapport that we talked about yesterday. He's up there with not as smart, I don't think, as Michael Saylor, but Pompliano, he knows his way around. He doesn't know everything about certain things. He misspeaks on a lot of things, but his basic knowledge is pretty good. And his channel is good for financial information. So take a look at him when you get a chance. A book and movie of the day, or just the book today, Stalking the Wind, or The Wild Pendulum. And this is by Itzhak Ben Tov. I've read a few of his book, and he really sees sort of how I see the universe through mechanisms and electricity. He's an engineer by trade, I believe, a mechanical engineer, but his books are amazing for the consciousness, understanding Bitcoin. And again, the more we understand either Bitcoin and how it works, it may help us understand us, because we're electrical beings just as Bitcoin. We use the same consciousness as Bitcoin. It's all electric. I don't care where you get the electric from, it all comes from the same source, whatever you want to call that source. Me, I just resource it over and over again. So I have a lot of resources. And the way I can continually resource the unlimited, boundaryless, no boundaries in space. It just keeps going. And so there's plenty, and as much space as there is in space, there's as much space in my soul, in my mind. I'm unlimited in what I can do or think. And that's a true free being. We're not trapped by the dollar bill anymore. And so I was going to do more news about the Congress. They weren't able to pass a vote about what's a broker or not. We'll talk about that later when they finally figure out. But it's going to take 2, 3, 5 years for all this stuff really to get sorted out because they just don't know. Congress doesn't know really what's going on. There may be 5 Congress people who even know about cryptocurrency in depth. So, but anyway, I think that's enough for today. I appreciate you coming in and listening to me. And again, take a time for me and hit that like bell. Share it with 5 friends, right? Let's get this this community, this SO crypto community going. So I want to keep bringing these videos to you. We can definitely improve them. It will improve over time. But right now, I just want to get the information out. The important thing is sometimes I don't have time to do these videos. I have other things that I do, but even though sometimes I look at this, I'm like, okay, I got to get this video out. I may not be motivated, but the motivation that keeps me going is that I heard about this in 2014, 15. If I would have heard about it even earlier than that, and someone said, "Hey, here it is," and I was open enough to hearing it, I'd be a lot more informed financially and wealthy, if you will. Not that wealth is again, it's just relative. But for me, and even in some of the esoteric frameworks that I'm presenting, if you can go back and talk to if you're an older person, you can go back and talk to your younger self. You know, let's say you're 20 or something. Let's say you're 50 and you went and talked to your 20 self. What would you tell them? What kind of information? What was it that got you, or what would have you loved to hear when you were younger, right? Instead of waiting till you're 50, let's hear it when you're 20. So I'm bringing this information out to get this and plant some seeds out there to people who may be interested in freeing their soul, saving their own souls, and having a financial future, not one tied to slavery. All right, guys. Thank you again. We appreciate you hanging out with us, and we'll look forward to you in the next video.